everyone, my name is Tyrenee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing pretty well here. As you can see from the title of this video, I am actually doing a voiceover today. Why is that? Well, because my hair is not done and I did not want to come on this platform looking like I don't love myself. Anyways, as you can see from the title of today's video, I actually wanted to talk to you guys about the similarities of two well-known Final Fantasy characters, and those two characters happen to be Aerith Gainsborough and Noctis Lucis Caelum. Now, the funny thing is, I came across a TikTok about the similarities of these two, and it just sparked an idea for me, and I really wish I knew who created that TikTok because I liked it and I just scrolled past it, and that is deep in my likes, and I cannot scroll that far. I won't be able to, but if you guys know exactly which TikTok I'm referring to, please give them credit in the comments section down below. That way I will be able to give them the proper credit that they deserve. Now, before we do dive in this video, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all social platforms. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the similarities of these two. Now, just to provide some information for anyone who watches my channel but isn't really familiar with Final Fantasy, each Final Fantasy game, or main title at least, is set up where none of the main titles are connected to each other. I mean, there are some theories about it. I haven't really looked into the theories, but on a surface level, it's easily noticeable that these titles are not connected to one another. Each game, there's different worlds, different characters, and different storylines. In this situation, Aerith Gainsborough is from Final Fantasy VII, and Noctis Lucis Caelum is from Final Fantasy 15. So therefore, these two have never ever interacted with one another. Starting off with the first similarity of these two, they are absolutely hilarious for like no reason. I could give out so many examples of these two, but I won't try to take up y'all time trying to list off every single funny moment. Please forgive me, but I really did forgot what led her to saying this in Remake. But y'all remember in 7 Remake where Aerith requested Cloud to kill somebody for her? Obviously, you can tell like she was joking about it, and Cloud was like, nope, pass. And then, of course, we can't forget about the iconic scene in Remake where she had a chair up over her head to smack upside the head of one of Don Corneo's little, slaves. And then, of course, there are plenty of moments that Noctis shares with the boys. And in all of this, like, the majority of the funny moments is, like, when you're roaming around in the world. But I think what one stands out to me is an iconic scene in the Final Fantasy 15 anime where all the boys are eating at a diner. And, of course, this grown man is picking out the veggies out of his burger. Now, I'm not really a picky person. Sometimes I could be feeling that. Sometimes I just want pickles and ketchup and mustard and cheese. And then there are moments where I want everything. Give me the lettuce. Give me the tomato. Give me the onion. But like, you're a grown man. Eat your vegetables, please. Now, I am starting to realize that there's similarities. The majority is of small details, but we will get to the big stuff here, I promise. Now, they're not ones to really enjoy themselves during massages. Now, in Rebirth, we see Tifa doing Aerith a favor and giving her a back massage, and she shrieks in pain, which is valid as an adult because back pains do come out of nowhere when you're an adult, when you don't even have to do much to have back pain. In Final Fantasy 15, there are massage beds in Galden Quay where if you select to get a massage for Noctis, he will lay down, and as soon as the massager put his hands on him, he will flinch and get back up. Cloud is also one to not really have the best experience in massages if you choose that for him in the 7 Remake, but it's not Cloud. It's not about Cloud right now. We'll get into that another time. They're hobbies that make them unique. Now, from what I've seen so far in all of Final Fantasy, I haven't seen a ton of characters that have like distinct hobbies that make them stand out, but I personally believe that fishing and gardening is what make Noctis and Aerith lovable characters that they are. I've noticed that their hobbies are also a bit disliked in their fandoms. A lot of people do not enjoy fishing in Final Fantasy 15. Not me. I like it. It was a little tough at first for some reason, but once I got the hang of it, I really enjoyed it. I just had a hard time like trying to get the bait and the reel and trying to like mix and match and see what works with what. But in chapter 8 of 7 remake, with the flower picking segment with Cloud and Aerith that they share, I think people don't like that for other reasons that I don't want to dive into, but I personally do not mind it. It's very simple. I mean, it's brief as well. It's just like a one and done kind of thing, whereas fishing, you can do that all around a 15 with Noctis. More on a sadder note, they've lost both of their parents and even a significant other. Aerith lost her dad first and then her mother, and she had to witness her mom passing away. Um, and we see this in like a flashback and rebirth where her mom is sick and she's begging all of these people like to help, get some medical attention to her mom, and everybody's ignoring her. And then Elmira comes around and she's trying to help her, but her mom is like, here, take care of Aerith. As for Noctis, he lost his mom first, and then he went away to get married to Lunafreya, and then he finds out over the intercom that his dad was killed by Niflheim, which we can see that invasion in Kingsglaive. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry, I'm not really good with big words. In the Final Fantasy 15 prequel movie. A little later on in the storyline, Aerith meets Zack during the events of Crisis Core, and they grew this beautiful relationship with one another. I mean, he helped her set up her flower business. He bought this iconic hair bow she wears in her hair, and he was just the absolute sweetest to her. Aerith wrote letters to him while he was away, and she even comforted him when he lost Angeal, his best, not Angeal. Yeah, Angeal. I'm sorry. My brain don't want to work with me. And it's even cuter when their Japanese voice actors got married. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they have a kid on the way, or they already do have a kid. But unfortunately, Zack dies from Shinra as they try to sweep up the wrongdoings underneath the rug. His last moments of life was to protect Cloud, who was unconscious and suffering from Mako poisoning. And he even passed on his Buster Sword for him to be his living legacy. And she was also a last thought of his before he was gunned down. Now, as for Noctis, he met Lunafreya as a child, and she tells him, about his future of being the King of Light and how she's by his side as the next Oracle on Light. And they would stay connected with one another with the book, writing messages to one another with Umbra or Prina. They would pass along the messages between the two. And even Lunafreya's home was invaded by Niflheim. And when that happened, they still maintained to keep in contact with one another, but they were physically separated from one another for about 12 years. And then once that passed, that's when Niflheim offered an arranged marriage between the two for them to be together again. And then, sadly, that wedding did not go through as planned because Lunafreya is killed by Arden, and she gives Noctis the ring. On to the next similarity. These two are actually surrounded by people who truly love them. The friendship that Noctis shares with Prompto, Ignis, and Gladio is truly aspiring, and I wish I could have a group of girlfriends like that. And although Noctis's dad requested them to look after them, they were like brothers. Even Sid made a beautiful statement about how they were just more than his bodyguards, but they were in fact his brothers. From Ignis sacrificing his eyesight, to Gladius giving words of encouragement at his lowest moment, to even Prompto taking photos of everything throughout their journey. And as for Aerith, if you didn't notice in Rebirth, I really liked how everyone's tag team with her is referred to as bodyguard. I think that should say enough, but even when Tifa first met Aerith, she was hesitant in getting her involved as far as trying to get info out of Don Corneo. And then Cloud, Tifa, and Barrick did make their way to save Aerith from Shinra as well. And unfortunately, when Aerith lost her life, they all take the time to grieve in Rebirth, although it was brief, and clearly you can see that they didn't really know each other for long. You could see the impact and how it obviously took a toll on everyone before they were left with no choice but to move forward in their journey. I will touch base on Aerith's death a little bit more here, but in the aftermath of her death and Advent children, you can see that they still loved and missed her so, as they all wore ribbons in honor of her, despite her being gone from 2 years at that point in the story. And last, but certainly not least, their deaths actually came from a place of sacrifice. For Noctis, he had to sacrifice himself to not only defeat Arden, but basically vanish darkness in the world forever. Noctis spent 10 years in the crystal to absorb its magic and prepare himself to put an end of it all. In the end, he summons all the former kings of Lucis to attack him until his soul is absorbed from the ring, and with one final blow, Arden is officially defeated and light had been restored. Now, let me tell y'all something. You can say whatever you want about Final Fantasy 15, but if the ending of this game did not make you cry, then you're cold-hearted. I could not stop crying when I first saw this back when I had my first playthrough in fall of last year. I actually remember finishing this on the day of my 23rd birthday dinner. Thankfully, it wasn't on my actual birthday, because who wants to cry on their birthday? I actually asked a couple of people on whether I should finish the finale before or after my birthday dinner, and thankfully people were considerate enough to spare me and allow me to have a good birthday dinner before finishing the final chapter of this game. As for Aerith, she joined Cloud and the others to stop Sephiroth from destroying the planet, as there was a meteor on its way. As Cloud walks up to Aerith, you can hear her praying for not only the summon of Holy, but for the safety of her friends in regards of the outcome of the situation. Once she finished her prayer, that's when there was Sephiroth descending from the ceiling and he impales her. Now, I do have to elaborate again that I have never played the original version of this game, so I'm not sure too much of how Aerith continues to play her role in the finale despite being unalive, but I do know for a fact that in Advent Children, she does partake in basically, still stopping the bad guys. So what she does is, we can see that she would visit Cloud in his visions, and she assures to him like, hey, it's not your fault that I'm not here, and she would give him a boost to defeat Bahamut and summon healing rain as people suffered from geostigma. And even with her final goodbye to Cloud, as all had been restored, she walked into the light with Zack as they were a part of the live stream. It's actually fun to really recognize the similarities between these two, despite being in different storylines of the same franchise. And I could only hope if we were to get like another spin-off Final Fantasy game similar to like World of Final Fantasy or even Dissidia, that we would definitely see these two interact with one another. Is there any similarities of Noctis and Aerith that you noticed but weren't mentioned in this video? Please comment down below and let me know. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.